So why the heck would anybody want to do this? Ride across the country on a bicycle at my age? Hi there. This is Chris Compton. Today is April 6th, 2024. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and this is Bike Talk Corner to Corner edition. It's the first episode. Stick around. This is Freedom Park, I think, but Freedom Park in Atlanta is kind of weird, and some places are called Linear Park and some have other names, but it's a nice spot for a video. I want to answer some questions that I get about this ride that's coming up. Hey, well, I've got your attention. Do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button. Click that little bell thing. Stop gawking at the naked guy and let's get back to the video. Let's start with what. This is a bicycle ride. I'm going from Fort Lauderdale, Florida to Seattle, Washington, and maybe across the island to the Pacific. We'll see how I feel after 11 weeks. When my friend Cleo is going to take all my things on the 20th down to her house in Fort Lauderdale and hold on to them for me. I have a concert with Dee and Gary on the 28th, and then I will fly to Fort Lauderdale, plan to start the ride on the 29th of April, and I'm expecting the whole ride to take in the 11 to 12 week neighborhood. I've never done this. You know, the furthest I've ridden in a day is 100 miles. The furthest I've ridden in an intentional stretch is about 380 miles. This is 3,850 miles over 3 months with some sleeping outside. So I can't say for sure how long it's going to take, but that's what we're shooting for. So let's talk about the who. Who am I? My name's Chris Compton. I am a 59-year-old guy living in Atlanta most of the time. I do a lot of traveling around. I'm a guy in transition. If you knew me even 3 years ago, you don't know me at all. Follow along and I'll talk a little bit about that transition on some of these videos. Where? Starting in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay, a lot of people want to know what exactly this route is going to look like. So that's why I'm here. I'm going to be starting in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That's where my friend Cleo lives. She's going to help me out by getting my stuff down there. I'm going to celebrate her by starting right there on the Atlantic Ocean, Fort Lauderdale. And then I plan to ride across the state of Florida to Siesta Key, Florida, and take a day or so and visit my in-laws, Mike and Kathy Force, before I ride up the west coast of Florida around the Panhandle up through Tallahassee and up to Opelika, Alabama. That's my first big stop. I'm stopping for the Opelika Singer-Songwriter Festival. I'm going to be meeting my wife Dee and my friend Gary and maybe Sunshine and one of her friends. We're going to listen to some music for a few days, and then I'll get back on the bike, head up to Birmingham and Huntsville, skirt Nashville, and come up to St. Louis, Missouri. I'm pretty excited about this part of the trip because when I get to St. Louis, then I'm going to continue along the Mississippi River. So I'm going to go through Hannibal, Missouri. I love fresh water. That's a big part of the adventure for me is riding up the Mississippi River. Hannibal, Missouri is Mark Twain's hometown, and my website is Twaining Wheels. I like Mark Twain, and I'm going to enjoy that. So we'll wind up the Mississippi, and we'll come to Minneapolis, Minnesota. When we get to Minneapolis, we're going to head just a little bit to the north up to St. Cloud, and then dip and riding through South Dakota, dip down, come up into Montana to Billings, and this is where we'll start going through the Rockies. Going to go through Butte, Helena, Missoula, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, dip down north of Yakima and up to Seattle. I want to do something like this so I can have some credibility when I say to you, get off your couch. Go do something. Go back to school. Go get a degree in something that you never even thought about, horticulture, or get a law degree. You don't have to practice law. You don't have to be a horticulturist, but you might decide to. My mom should go to nursing school. She's going to be 78, and she would really like to go to nursing school, and she should. And then she should practice as a nurse because Lord knows we don't have enough empathetic, kind, loving people in our healthcare system. You're only old if you say you're old, and I'm not going to say it. In fact, what I'm going to say is this. When I'm 100 years old, I'm going to still be living to whatever extent this body holds up. And when your body doesn't hold up, there's tons of living you can do. You might not be able to ride your bicycle across the country. I might not be able to ride mine. That's TBD. There's all kinds of things you can do. Your imagination is more powerful than anything else you have. You can't let yourself get old. So that's why I'm doing it. How can you help? Help me get the word out. It would be pretty neat if I had a real following. If thousands of people instead of 8 were following along and making comments and seeing how things were going.